Okay, I do rise in opposition to this, and I hope you'll vote against it with me. Right now, I understand why they're bringing the amendment, but this bill already covers everybody. I don't see any reason to limit it. Everybody's constitutional amendments are protected. Everybody's constitutional amendments are respected. Everybody's constitutional amendments can be vindicated in a court of law under this bill. I don't know why we would try to narrow this. I don't know why we would try to create a subsection in this bill. I think we would all agree that this should be that it should apply to everybody, and right now the bill does. There's no reason to add this language in there. Ironically, I think if we added this language in there, that might be the only type of discrimination that's in the bill, because we're now segregating out classes of people. I think we just have to keep it to where it applies to everybody. That's the much better way to go. Keep it clean, and it protects everybody, even everybody contemplated in this amendment and those not contemplated in the amendment.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Anchia, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield for questions?
The gentleman yield for questions.
I will yield for a question.
Gentleman yields.
For one question?
Let's see how it goes.
Multi-part question.
Okay.
So you said earlier that everyone was protected under this bill. If that's the case, then we shouldn't need the bill because other laws would protect everybody, right? But in that section that we talked about earlier, that was 2400.002, it says, notwithstanding any other law. And in fact, the LGBT community is not a protected class. They do not have protection under any other law. So I want to ask you about discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression that, again, is not protected. And that's what this amendment deals with. We are speaking on exactly within the four corners of this amendment. And so what if a justice of the peace and my church did not believe in same-sex marriage? And in support of that religious organization, that justice of the peace refused to marry a same-sex couple. Would that be protected by this bill?
Actually, I think what this amendment is doing is talking about the individuals who are protected under adverse action.
Correct.
Who also will not have any government action taken against them should they be based wholly or partly on that person's membership in, affiliation with, or contribution, donation, or other support provided to a religious organization.
And what I'm getting at is the other support, correct? So we're exploring the dimension of the other support that you just discussed. And so if a justice of the peace's church did not believe in same-sex marriage, could that JP agree to flout the law, because it says notwithstanding any other law, and refuse to marry that couple?
Well, see, again, I think if we're going to stay on the amendment that we're doing, what the amendment is trying to do is make sure that somebody, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, expression, or anything else, does not have an adverse action taken against them from the government. And I've said over and over in the last couple of weeks, I don't care if you're Chick-fil-A or if you're Ben & Jerry's, you should not be discriminated against because of your belief, your support, or who you give to, whether it's a religious organization or not. So
what about
that's
the
what
JP?
This amendment does.
So could there be an adverse action taken against that JP? That squares perfectly with your amendment.
No, this amendment talks about these protected classes. The government could not take action against somebody because of sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression, just because of wholly or partly based on the person's membership in, affiliation with, contribution, donation, or other support provided to a religious organization. It protects everybody equally. And that's the great thing about this law, and I hope you will support it today.
Oh,
because,
shucks.
Yeah, because it is protecting everybody on an even playing field.
Let me see if I can ask you, if you would answer the question that you said you'd ask. So, does other support of a religious organization, as you have it in your bill, and protect a class of persons, most specifically the LGBTQ community, that is not otherwise a protected class under the law?
Yeah, again, under the amendment, it doesn't matter ace, rage, age, race, sexual orientation, gender identity. Doesn't matter. The government cannot take an adverse action against you because you're based wholly or partly on the person's membership in, affiliation with, contribution, donation, or other support provided to a religious organization. That's why I oppose this amendment, because we don't need it. They're already covered under the amendment. The government cannot take adverse action against them. They can't take adverse action against Starbucks. They can't take adverse action
So it
against
is your
Chick-fil-A.
belief
They
that
can't
the
take adverse action.
LGBT community is a protected class?
No, I've not said
Okay,
that.
thank you.